Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
2 more regular season games, 1 more here at UBS Arena. How does this rank for you in playoff pushes, the excitement of this building and the fans' involvement over the last couple of games?
Yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable. It's a lot better than Vancouver, I'll tell you that for free.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk more about that in a second. All of our guests today, including Stefen Rosner, who covers the Islanders, covers Bo Horvat and the Islanders for the Hockey News, are brought to you by the Waddling Dog Pub. One of Victoria's historic watering holes welcomes you to come see why they're the talk of the peninsula. Their 50-seat patio set to open May 1, and the return of no-cover UFC nights slotted to return in June, all while showing all the action of the upcoming NHL postseason. Also swing by their attached liquor store to pick up your Donnie and Dolly swag. Countless reasons to come sit and stay at the Waddling Dog. Just before we get to Stefan, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, Harv and Steveston add Bo Horvat to the list that includes David Duchovny. People who have upset oversensitive Vancouverites by saying something that's true. Remember, David wanted out of Vancouver. They were filming the X-Files here because of rain.
Yeah.
Guess what? It rains a lot in Vancouver. And guess what? The atmosphere at an Islanders game might be better than the atmosphere at a Canucks game.
Yes.
A team that hasn't had a playoff home game since 2015. As we bring in New York Islanders beat writer for the Hockey News, Stefen Rosner, who joins us again. He's been on the show before. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Very well. Do we chalk up Bo's anti-Vancouver comment to what he says were emotions getting the best of him at the time?
I would say yes and no. I would think definitely he got caught up in the moment for sure. The fan base, even before he even stepped foot on the ice, during the All-Star break, the festivities down there, he said he had Islander fans coming up to him already having number 14 Islander jerseys. So there's a great relationship there already. Now, that being said, his comment about I'll tell you that for free, it definitely seemed like he was taking a shot. Again, you guys would know more than me on how the atmosphere was at Canucks games throughout his tenure there. But I do think in that moment, he did get caught just in the moment of winning a key game over the Philadelphia Flyers in front of the UBS Arena crowd, who's been rather loud on this playoff push here. And yeah, emotions get the best of players. It happens all the time. He did apologize when we spoke with him yesterday before the game against the Capitals. But yeah, I saw a lot of, obviously it blew up on social media. I don't think he was expecting that, but that's society today with sports on social media.
Yeah. I haven't been there since the Nassau Coliseum days. And look, Stefan, the atmosphere at Rogers, they haven't been in the playoffs. And there was the 2020 bubble. They haven't played a playoff game here since 2015. What's the atmosphere like at an Islanders game these days?
Yeah, it's pretty loud. When the team's obviously doing bad, especially during the week, maybe you're not going to sell out. But right now on this push, these are Islander fans that the first year the building opened had the whole COVID issues. Then last year they don't make the playoffs. So it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. And now the fans are back in the building full-time this year. Again, they were last year, but everything that went wrong could have last year. They want to see this team make the playoffs. This building, the ownership group, wants to see this team make the playoffs, sell that place out. And it has a huge lower bowl, similar to Nassau Coliseum by design, and it gets very loud. I mean, when Bo Horvat, I remember his first game as an Islander at UBS, when he scored, the place just erupted. It was probably as loud as it's been. And then the other night, when the final horn rings, the place is rocking, and I think it is very easy to get caught up in emotions there, especially when you're a new player coming to a new team where your main goal is, hey, you're being brought in here to get this team into the playoffs, and you're getting closer and closer now. They had last night's debacle, which didn't help at all, but yeah, the fans are full support of Bo Horvat. Bo Horvat loves it. He said after he scored his first goal when he heard the Bo Horvat chants that he had never heard his name chanted that loud ever. So again, that's probably another shot at the Canucks faithful.
Stefan, why the production down? He had 31 goals in 49 games in Vancouver. All of a sudden, he's got 7 goals in 29 games. What's going on there with the goal production down for Bo in New York?
Well, yeah, losing Matt Barzal has been critical to his lack of production. Yep. You look at Horvat, and everyone thought, okay, they're bringing in a guy that's a legitimate goal scorer, and that's true. But he needs help. He's not someone that he can create chances on his own. He's done that even with Barzal. He hasn't finished them. But Matt Barzal is your playmaker on that line, and Bo Horvat's a finisher. And without him, Lane Lambert's tried to find players to fit alongside him. No one's really clicked. Anders Lee's been there more often than not, but you see a rotation of Josh Bailey, who's shown that he's been a healthy scratch lately. That shows all you have to know there about how Bailey's played. Simon Holmstrom's starting to look better alongside Horvat, but is still a young player trying to prove himself. And yeah, he's got on the short end of the stick a little bit, sort of like what Barzal went through, where you had 3 lines rolling and you don't want to touch, if Barzal has to deal with 2 line mates that aren't clicking, that's what it's going to have to take to get the team to win. So Horvat had to do a lot on his own. And again, the production was down, sure. But without Barzal and without Pajot, you could say that Horvat saved the Islanders season, giving them a chance. He wore so many hats: power play, penalty kill, defensive zone draws in all areas. He definitely helped without the goals production. But again, the Islanders need offense, and he's there to score goals. He's played better as of late. But, the production's way down. And again, it's not like he wasn't getting the chance to score. He had shot attempts. He was leading the team in shot attempts throughout his slump that he had. He just wasn't finding the back of the net. Is that a common issue? I saw him pass up a shot lane, which I hadn't seen him do often. So, again, I think there's definitely a mental toll the slump took on him. At the same time, he does need help, but he should have more goals than the stat line shows.
Yeah, you mentioned the mental. I thought I read a week ago he slammed his stick. Have you sensed any frustration from the lack of production, especially the goals?
I think so. Again, when you're a guy that's coming over, there's already a lot of pressure. You're joining a new team, and you want to produce, you want to score. That's why you're being brought in. And when you don't do that, obviously it's gonna have a toll on you. But again, it wasn't. I think he'd be more concerned if he wasn't getting the chances, if his game was invisible. That hasn't been the case. He's had the chances. He just hasn't been scoring. So I think that was the positive, that he's clearly creating the opportunities, the high danger chances. But again, you're a goal scorer. When you have a wide open shot in front, missing the net or shooting it right into the goalie's chest, it's definitely going to kill your confidence.
Yeah, I'm sure Islander fans are shaking their heads at what happened yesterday, falling down 3-0 so early and losing to the Capitals in such an important game. At 1 game left, it's against the Habs. If they don't make the playoffs, who gets the blame?
Well, definitely a collective group. I have a hard, everyone's going to blame Lou and Lane, and it's understandable. When the Islanders needed help, Lou did go out and get it this year. They got Horvat. They needed scoring, and he was great alongside Barzal. Barzal goes down, a speedster. Lou Amarillo goes out and gets Pierre Engvall, who's been, maybe it took him a couple of games to get used to the system, but he, alongside Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri, have single-handedly carried the offense for a very long time down the stretch again, until Horvat, Lee, and Holmstrom started to click over the last few games. So maybe Lou didn't do enough in the offseason, get a puck-moving defenseman that he needed. He got Romanov, who's out injured now. He could have gotten probably more of a bona fide goal scorer this summer, maybe move some contracts. He decided to run it back, trusting in this group that had a bad year last year. And obviously, Anthony Beauvillier was traded because he wasn't producing. That's how the Islanders got Horvat, or part of it. So they're going to blame Lou for that, because that's just how it works. Then you look at Lane Lambert, a first-year head coach, and if anyone thought he was going to have a perfect season as a first-year head coach, even with the experience as assistant coach all these years under Barry Trotz, that wasn't going to be the case. He's going to make rookie mistakes, and he sure has. But when you look at why this Islanders team isn't going to make it, besides from the power play, which is second worst in the NHL right now, which, again, falls on coaching and the players, look at this. This is a veteran group, and they have started incredibly slow in critical games. Best example was last night. Again, this is a veteran group that's been there, knows what it takes to win, has made it to the playoffs, has played tight games. Yesterday was as big of a must-win game as it's been all year. In the opening, a minute and 3 seconds, you're down 2-0 to not just a Capitals team playing for nothing, a Capitals team without Alex Ovechkin. Without, I know as much as he struggled, Anthony Mantha not in the lineup. Other key guys out against Darcy Kemper, who hasn't been abysmal this year, but solid, average NHL netminder. They just allowed the Capitals to just attack right off puck drop, and before they knew it, they're down 2-0 off their own mistakes. Mind you, I guess the Capitals had to bury, but it's off their own mistakes. Sorokin did not look sharp early. He got better as the game went on, and they're down 3-0 after 1 period of play, and they just never found a way to truly break through. They scored a couple goals in garbage time on garbage goals, but this is an Islander team that needed to come out of the gates flying. They did that against Tampa last Thursday in a huge win. Against the Flyers, not so much, but Sorokin, who has the power to bail his team out, did so and allowed them to win that game. And you look at yesterday, and Sorokin didn't bail them out. Again, a lot of the Islanders' mistakes this year have been covered up by Sorokin and his brilliance. So, unfortunately, that was the game they needed Sorokin to bail them out early. They didn't. And again, comes back to the lack of offense as of late, and they can't get it done. And now they are looking at a situation where making the playoffs is out of their hands.
And just before I let you go, Stefan, he's from around these parts, but he's been out since mid-February. Very quickly, Matt Barzal, health update. I know you're not a doctor, but what do you know?
Yeah, so we know nothing. We obviously, you know how Lou Lamoriello works. There is no intel coming out at all. We know that he's been skating on his own for over a week. He has yet to join a practice. Now, again, with all these games coming up and one game left, they didn't practice today. They'll be on the ice for a morning skate, I bet, tomorrow morning. But, I mean, for a guy like Matt Barzal, whose lower body injury, whose game is pretty much his skating ability, that's what separates him from everyone else in the league, you would think that he needs to get into a team practice and test it out on line rushes or in the corners before he goes into a game that they have to win. I'm not saying Barzal at 75% shouldn't go into the game. I think Barzal should play if he's ready, especially now. You have to win. But clearly if he was ready to play and help this team, he'd be back in the lineup. So I think that, he's really just taking his time. Again, this is a long-term investment. The last thing the Islanders want to do is have him come back too early and re-aggravate. For example, like Max Pacioretty, who comes back from an Achilles injury, maybe a little too soon, and then first game or second game back, he tears it again. So the Islanders can't afford that. They found a way without him, but again, you need Horvat to be your star, especially if they do make the playoffs, and he's going to need Matt Barzal back for that to be the case.
Outstanding, Stefan. We'll have to. You're becoming a regular. Thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it so much, guys. Have a good one.
You bet.